right. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Diamondhead. We'll begin our meeting tonight with reading the statement of purpose. Commissioner Latrell.
May our decisions today be made with wisdom, careful deliberation, and in the best interest of the City of Diamondhead. May we display patience and kindness in our dealings with each other and all who are in attendance, and may any decisions made today promote the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Diamondhead and the enhancement of the city as a whole.
Mr. Torberson, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Ms. Tammy, roll call, please.
Commissioner DeBroe?
Here.
Commissioner Flowers? Here. Commissioner Torgerson?
Here.
Commissioner Hector? Here. Commissioner Lael? Here. Commissioner Horn?
Here.
Chairman Rubar?
Here. Okay, the next item on our agenda is the approval minutes of October 26, 2021. Hopefully people have, the commissioners have had a chance to read through it. I did. I didn't see any changes that I can see, but if you do, let us know. And the chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
So moved and seconded. All right, I'll have a roll call vote.
Commissioner DeBroe?
Aye.
Commissioner Flowers? Aye. Commissioner Hector?
Aye.
Commissioner Horn?
Aye.
Commissioner Lael?
Aye.
Commissioner Torgerson?
Aye.
Chairman Rubar?
Aye. Okay, the agenda has been submitted to us for tonight's meeting. Are there any changes or amendments to the agenda? Staff? Commissioners? Okay, seeing and hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Moved and seconded. All this, we will go by roll call.
Commissioner DeBroe?
Aye.
Commissioner Lael?
Aye.
Commissioner Flowers?
Aye.
Commissioner Hector?
Aye.
Commissioner Horn?
Aye.
Commissioner Torgerson? Chairman Rubar?
Aye. Okay, the minutes have been approved, the agenda has been approved as presented. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, before we get into the new business portion of it, I'd like just to remind anybody that wants to speak on any of the topics on the agenda today, or if you want to speak on a non-agenda topic, please make sure you sign up here. Thank you.
Okay. New business. And I apologize if I mispronounce someone's name. I'm not a native southerner, so sometimes I'm too good with some of the southern names, so I apologize in advance. David Deere, if that's correct, has filed an application requesting a variance of the zoning ordinance article 4.18.3 D double I to allow the construction of a roof over a concrete slab basketball court am I in the right one?
Commissioner, you're looking at the
No,
minutes
that's
of the
one.
last meeting.
Excuse me, wait a minute, that sounds awfully familiar.
Hey,
Excuse me.
it's okay, you're only
If
a
we can get on
month
the right page
behind.
here, it would help.
You're only a month behind, it's all right.
Okay, we have a presentation, this is a little better, from Robert Barber, at Ryan Planning to update the commission on short-term rental ordinance progress. This is for information and discussion only. No vote will be taken. Robert, you've got the floor. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. It's good to, really good to be back before you. Appreciate the opportunity. We have looked at this before, and we have discussed it briefly before. I want to present it to you to move it forward, of course, when the commission is ready. What I'm referring to is entitled Memo Number 3. It's related to short-term rentals and a potential amendment to the zoning code. So the city of Diamondhead asked us to look at short-term rentals and how they were or were not addressed in the zoning code. And we began that process last spring. At some point, we presented some information to the commission. We surveyed the commissioners to kind of understand what your thinking was and what your priorities were related to that. And ultimately, what I have here, after a series of advisory memos to the commission, I have memo number 3, which proposes, based on all the information gathered up to this point, potential amendments related to short-term rentals. And you will see listed there, I'm not going to go through all the pages. I just provided all the prior memos so you'd have the history of what we've done, what you've done, what you and we have done together. There are 3 potential amendments, or 3 amendments that need to occur together in order to enact short-term rental, address short-term rentals in the zoning code. The first one is that short-term rentals have to be defined. They're not defined in the code. They're of relatively recent origin. When we're speaking of short-term rentals, of course, we're talking Airbnbs, VRBOs, and that type of enterprise. And short-term rentals are not currently addressed in the code, so we have to define them. And you have Amendment 1, a potential Amendment 1 there on the first page, which defines short-term rentals, meaning the rental or lease of an attached or detached residential dwelling unit to guests for a duration not to exceed 30 consecutive days. So that's a very common definition. And by the way, just for reference purposes, I did attach what's called a Planning Advisory Service memo, which does research across the country related to these issues. So that's and that's quite a common definition. The second amendment would be to show short-term rentals as permitted with Planning Commission review in the R3 district and conditional in all other residential districts. Again, that's based on information that has been discussed with the commission prior, and excluded in the manufactured home district. So that puts a location where the various zones are. And then thirdly, what would be the conditions related to a short-term rental? And the conditions related typically fall in the categories of the nature of the stay, the location of these particular enterprises, the specific site characteristics, and then how they're managed. And without, Mr. Chairman, reading through items at the bottom of page 1 and flowing over to page 2, items A through E, or A through J, those were some of the conditions, and we asked you to kind of rank those and prioritize those to get a sense of where the commission was, what should be addressed, what is less important to be addressed. And this is the list we developed from that interaction. Manager or owner living within city limits of Diamondhead, separation, 1,000-foot separation except in instances of condominiums, the minimum stay, can't use an accessory structure. I said I wasn't going to read them all, and then I've started reading them all. But you can look down the list and you can see those items. And then there's an annual compliance inspection, must meet the fire codes, and privilege license from the city. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm providing, again, you stated it was advisory and informational at this point. We're ready to move it forward when, of course, the commission is, but you have a set of amendments there that addresses short-term rentals.
Okay, are there any comments from the commissioners or questions?
Now, we have discussed, when you're all ready to move forward, making the draft available for public comment interactively on the web, so we get all that comment as well, and we'll want to go through a period of that when you're ready.
I have a couple questions
Yes, sir.
regarding Diamondhead facilities. Will these guests be permitted to use a pool, tennis, and golf course? Golf course they pay for, that's not such an issue. But will they be granted permission to use a pool? If so, how's that going to look like? Do they apply for a temporary use permit, in a sense, to swim? Same with tennis, or tennis courts? Because there are facilities that are available to the residents, and I would think if the residents aren't using them, that shouldn't necessarily be a problem, but I think we need to address that because the residents are gonna want to know that.
Yeah.
So I think that's something we need to talk about.
I think that's an excellent point.
Okay.
Yes, sir, it is. It's not addressed here because we're strictly dealing with the
Granted.
zoning code, but
Right.
it is certainly a point that needs to be
All right,
understood.
good. I would like to see that addressed before we push this forward, just so we know.
Yes.
Hey, Todd,
Yes, Bill?
there already is a thing set up with COA that if you do have a guest, regardless of what the rental term or length is, you can go to the COA and get them a temporary card that allows them use of the pool. As far as tennis goes, anybody can go to tennis and play as a guest. The fee is a little different than if they are a paying member of Tennis World, which is different than being a COA member. So a non-Tennis World member that is a COA member would basically pay the same thing as somebody renting a condo, although there is a slight break if you're a non-tennis member that live in Diamondhead as opposed to a non-tennis member that lives out of Diamondhead. But all of that is already addressed by COA, so I don't think it's something that we need to readdress.
So all we would have to do is provide that information and contact numbers in the policy itself, or the ordinance, I should say. Okay, I think that will be fine, yes. Thank you,
Yeah.
Bill. Okay.
Sure.
Any other questions on this for Bob?
Mr. Chairman, for the benefit of those that are in the audience and those that are watching the live stream, Bob, would you go back and read these items under 17?
Yes.
Because not everybody has this information. I think it would be helpful to those that are live streaming and those in the audience that do not have this packet.
Yes, sir.
For them to hear that.
I will. So there's the three potential amendments that need to work together with one another. One, defining the short-term rentals. Secondly, determining which zones they can go in by right or by conditional use. And then the conditions themselves as potential amendment number 3. Owner or designated manager shall reside within the city limits of Diamondhead. Short-term rentals should be separated or shall be separated by a distance of 1,000 feet, except in the instance of a condominium or multifamily structure. The minimum stay would be 2 nights. No accessory structure, meaning outbuilding, camper, that sort of thing, could be used as short-term rental. Occupancy limited to 2 persons per bedroom. Parking to be provided off-street, and no parking in a yard, except, of course, on a paved driveway surface. The outward appearance of a short-term rental should be indistinguishable from that of a residence. Signage related to the activity would be prohibited. Proof of code compliance for fire safety measures, adequate water, sewer service, and other utilities and infrastructure. An annual compliance inspection, and then a privilege license obtained from the city. Those would be the proposed conditions.
I have another question. If a renter would bring or travel to the house where they're going to be renting, and they bring a travel trailer of any sort, be it one that's self-motorized or one that's a trailer, Has that been addressed?
Only in the sense that the owner of a site couldn't use a travel trailer as an Airbnb. Otherwise, I think I'll need some guidance here. Other parts of the code may cover overnight stay in a travel trailer. Would I be correct?
The current code says that if you're a resident and you have someone visit you with a RV or trailer, they're allowed to stay up to 7 nights, I believe is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, so how does that apply?
And this would not disturb that rule.
Oh, I got that, but
Yeah.
should we address it in this policy so that we don't have people bringing an RV or trailer, if you will, along with, to stay in the house, so that we've regulated the number of people who can stay in the house, the number of persons per bedroom. What if they bring a travel trailer to get here, and they also want to use that for other people to stay in?
Yes, sir.
I think if we address that, I think that it's preventing the problem before it happens.
Yes.
Because I think that situation could easily happen.
Yes, sir. We can certainly address that.
Yep, okay, good. Any other questions for Bob about this particular memo? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you for bringing it to the commission.
Yes, sir.
When do you think we'll have that from you?
I think addressing the comment will be rather simple, the one that was just made, and we're ready to go with it whenever you're ready, within a week's time or 2 weeks at most.
But definitely by our next commission meeting.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
And the next step would be, Bob?
Our discussion has been, in the engagement, was to get a set of them, get the amendment together, and then let's post it for public comment. And then final step would be approval after that, when you're ready.
Okay. And just to make sure that the residents know that they're going to be able to look at this and reply to it, make comments, are we going to do a survey?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
we can
Like we
stage
did.
it in a survey as we did in some of the planning matters that
Right,
we've worked
okay.
on. Yes, sir.
Okay,
So
so
we're
We'll have
looking for.
feedback for that methodology, just like we did last time.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I'm saying this more for the benefit of those that are live
Absolutely.
streaming.
No,
Okay,
that's
Yes.
very good.
okay.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Bob. We appreciate it. We have several distinguished guests this evening. We have the pleasure of having the company of our mayor, Nancy Ebra. Welcome. Then we have Chuck Clark. I saw you walk in here someplace. There he is, back in the corner. Are there other city council members here? There we go. Okay, could you identify yourself, please?
Ricky Shepherd.
I thought you were Ricky Shepherd, but I wasn't sure. Okay, any others? And of course, our city manager, Mike Grizzo.
And the city attorney is here as well.
That's true. A very distinguished member, our city attorney, Gary Cusick, if you don't know our city attorney. Okay, moving right along. Item number 4 on the agenda. Janet Harmon Curvey and John A. Curvey have filed an application requesting a variance from the zoning ordinance Article 4.19 to allow the construction of a covered patio, 36 by 26 by, I think it's 36 feet by 26 inches, is that correct? By 14 feet 4 inches within a 17.9 inch of the rear property line. Additionally, to construct a masonry fireplace within 3 by 6 dimensions within 14.9 inches of the rear property line. The property address is 7518 Augusta Way. The tax parcel number is 067M235007000. The property is in an R1 zoning district. The rear setback is 20 feet. The variance requested is for the cover of the patio is 2.1 inches, feet, feet.
Yeah.
And the fireplace is 5.1 feet. The case file number is 202-100-459. Staff report.
Can I do it from here?
If your microphone's on, yes, you can do it from there.
All right. I believe it's on. All right. So how we got here. The Curveys contacted us. They own an existing home. They want to enclose the back porch, enjoy the night free of bugs, free of golf balls, free of insects, etc. So they came and talked to us, and we told them that the way to do this was to go through the Planning Commission for approval on that. So they're asking for these variances.
Okay. Are the
Yes.
residents here have they signed in? They signed in? Mr. Kirby, Mr. and Mrs. Kirby, come on. What?
They're not required to sign in. The
Oh,
applicants.
okay, since they're addressing the
We've
issue.
got-
Yeah.
We've got their info.
Welcome. You state your name and address for the record, please.
I'm Janet Kirby. This is John Kirby, my husband. We live at 7518 Augusta Way. I believe you guys have an information sheet we kind of typed up for you. I just want to go over a couple points on that. Our home was built as a model home in 2003, and for whatever reason, the developer intruded upon the 20-foot setback. And that area is the rear wall of our master bedroom and also an existing patio that's back there. Each of those are 17 feet and 9 inches from the property line. That existing patio, it provides no protection at all from the elements, whether that's sun, rain, bugs. We'd like to add a covered patio, a screened one, that would include the existing patio, and then we would also extend that patio to the northwest corner of the rear of our home. And we feel that your approval be adding to the aesthetics of the rear elevation of our home and also provide shelter again from the harsh sun, rain, and those relentless biting insects. Do you have anything to say?
No, I think, as Janet mentioned, I mean, really our intent is we want to improve the livability of the house, kind of enjoy the multiple seasons, and at the same time, just add overall value to the home.
Commissioners, question? From what I understand, looking at the drawing, and I could be wrong here, so I'm just trying to make sure we get the facts right, that the proposed porch covered would be facing the golf course, is that correct?
Yes.
On the fairway?
Mhm.
And with it constructed, you would be 18.2 inches from your property line,
Correct.
once it's constructed.
Mhm. It follows,
And
well,
where,
yes,
but the fire pit, according to this drawing here, is outside of the covered porch area, is that correct? The fireplace you're gonna be installing, which would be that, so that would reduce it to around probably 17.5 feet from that fireplace, I'm estimating,
Yeah, basically.
to the property line.
Yeah, the fireplace would basically, the face would be flush with the wall, with the screen and porch, basically.
Oh, that would be flush with it?
Mhm.
Because here it doesn't show that, okay. All right,
Basically, but it would extend back from the face.
That's correct.
yeah.
And the reason we're asking for that, if you stick it inside the screen and porch,
It's
We're
going to
gonna
eat up a
have
lot
a
of the
setup.
space, the floor space inside.
the floor
you know.
space inside, we're gonna have a set of double doors. It'll basically go into the screen and porch, and it kind of eats up the whole, quite a bit of space.
So you're extending the porch 3 feet beyond the existing?
No, not the whole porch, just, well, the fireplace itself will be kind of
Okay.
set back from that.
That's
yeah.
right. Basically, it would just maintain the line that's already there from the master
Mhm.
bedroom and just take it straight
With
to
the
the
exception of the
northwest corner
fireplace,
house.
yeah.
okay. Any other questions? Okay, and you're going to put a screening in this porch as well, is that correct?
Yeah,
Mhm.
be a screen and
Covered
porch.
and screened, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
I have a question.
go ahead, Bill.
Has the POA approved it?
We didn't know we had to.
Yeah, we weren't told we had to go to the PO back.
We told it was
asked
done
about
through
that,
here.
and they said to come through here.
Did you hear that comment back, Bill? They didn't know they, okay,
They're encroaching on POA property, so they should have, they should have been notified of it. Just like if it was another neighbor, the golf course, that's POA property, that they should be, asked if it's going to interfere
The
with
neighbor,
their operation.
the neighbors have been notified, right?
Yep.
Through a letter campaign.
Mhm.
So
yeah, well,
that's
Now-
our,
To,
POA
Mr. Chairman, if I may answer that question, please.
If you would like to.
Thank you. The POA has deferred these decisions to the city and generally fall in line with the city is what they decide. The notice was published in the Seacoast Echo, so they, like everyone else, have been notified by the publication of record. So notification was made.
All right, so that's good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Bill. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for considering.
Are there any signed comments from the community regarding this issue?
No.
No.
Okay. All right. Before we can have further discussion on this, we'll hear from the staff.
There are about 5 or 6 things that we have to look at before we can approve or deny one of these things. One is that special circumstances, do they exist that are peculiar to the land, structure, or building? This house was built in 2003 within 17.9 feet of the rear property line. It is assumed, because the city was formed in 2012, so we don't know what went on in 2003, but it is assumed that permission to do so was granted by the county, POA, or both. The requested covered patio is an extension of the rear of the house and will not be any closer to the rear property line than the rear of the house already is. Regarding the literal interpretation, other properties adjoining the golf courses have covered patios and have been able to utilize setback permissions that were previously granted. The home was built in 2003. Permission was given prior to the current owners, so this is not something caused by the current owners. This will not confer on the on the applicant any special privilege that is denied to other people, because other permissions have been granted, setback permissions have been granted to utilize the permission. It's not beyond the minimum variance because the applicant is not asking for an additional variance. All they're asking to do is to utilize the previously granted variance. So at the time they were building, if they were granted that and want to do that, it is assumed that they would have been allowed that. Okay? It wouldn't change, it still observes the spirit of the ordinance, would not change the character of the district, etc. So based upon these findings, the staff recommends to approve the variance as petitioned. I will, okay, that's enough.
And Commissioners, I'd just like to point out as well, Pat, you have not received any email or letters
That
or
is
in
correct.
opposition?
Thank you. Thank you, Counselor. Yes, no one has spoken to me or our office in opposition. Any questions?
Commissioners? I have a number of questions, but they will hold till we have a motion on the table, on the floor.
Okay. Thank you.
So your recommendation is to approve?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, Pat, in your, say that the recommendation to the commission is to approve the variance, and the staff recommends denying the variance based on the following facts. Am I looking at something different here than? You go through A through G through H, and then notes, and recommendation is to approve, and then the next paragraph says the staff recommends denying this variance.
I apologize for that. That's a typo. Because the recommendation of the Planning Commission is to approve the variance as a petition. So that the staff recommends approving the variance based on the following facts. So if you please change that to approving. The staff recommends to approve.
Is there a motion, since there's no one else to speak on this from the public, is there a motion to either approve or deny this variance?
I make the motion, we approve.
Okay, it's moved in a second, so we can now have discussion. Commissioners, any comments? I guess I'm perplexed here. I've sat on this commission for a couple of years now, and whenever this situation come up before, it's been denied, okay? On these two instances in the recent history. Now, this is a much more minimal intrusion, okay? But the last one we denied was a real intrusion onto the golf course, okay, of like 18 feet. There'd be only a 3 feet setback, okay? I can understand denying that, and I don't have any problem with that, even though I understood that the house is built too far back on the lot to let that be approved, okay? We had a young man by the name of Evans who applied for a variance as well. That was denied, okay? In this instance, we're approving it. I think we need to be consistent here. In this instance, we're saying approving it because it's such a very small part of the setback that will be compromised. Is that what the staff's feeling is?
No, what we're saying is they already are encroaching that 20 feet. They're 17 point.
I get that, but they're still they'll be encroaching more in a different area.
The porch, the slab is there, right?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so
They're
the
just
slab, there's a
enclosing.
concrete slab there existing.
And, yeah, and they're enclosing.
So they're asking to basically enclose that slab and put a barbecue pit in. Is that correct?
Fireplace.
Fireplace.
Oh, whatever, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Any further discussion? Call to questions. Any questions on the proposed amendment? Okay, roll call vote?
Commissioner DeGroat?
Aye.
Commissioner Flowers? Aye. Commissioner Hector? Aye. Commissioner Horn?
Bill?
Aye.
Commissioner Leo? Aye. Commissioner Torgerson? Aye. Chairman Rubar?
No.
And just as a matter of record keeping for those in the audience, for this matter, this is a variance request. So this body makes a recommendation to the city council.
Yes,
So
we're
this-
not the final vote on this. The city council has a final vote on this.
So this matter will go to the next city council meeting, which is next Tuesday here at 6 o'clock, and they make the final decision on this variance at the next council meeting. So that's for the information of the applicant as well.
Okay. The next item is number 5 on the agenda. Bng Food Enterprises LLC has filed an application requesting planning commission review as required by the zoning ordinance article 4.2.1.1b to allow the construction of a drive-in restaurant, Taco Bell. The property address is 4405 Aloha Drive. The tax parcel number is 131E-13-13-006.002. The property is a C1 general commercial zoning district. Drive-in restaurants are considered permitted uses with the review and approval and ordinance with the planning commission and review provisions set forth in the planning zoning ordinance. The case file number is 202-100-483.
This is an unusual case due to the fact that this is a drive-through restaurant. Had it been a non-drive-through restaurant, it would never have appeared here. It's allowed by right. But because of the peculiarities of the way that these things were set up as far as planning commission review, the founding fathers of the city decided they wanted the planning commission to review these applications for drive-through or drive-in restaurants. As I said, had this been any other restaurant that was not a drive-through, if it was a Applebee's or something like that, the permit would have already been issued and construction would have started. So this is to review the site plan and to see if they meet the requirements of the site plan. The staff is charged, the planning commission has the right of review and approval over site plan for development. So that's where we are with this. Restaurant wants to come and locate here on a piece of land owned by Diamondhead Community Properties, LLC, I believe it is. And because it is a drive-through or drive-in restaurant, it must have planning commission review. So that's what they've come here to do, is to ask for the planning commission to review and to either approve or deny that site plan, the approval of that site plan. Any questions?
Commissioners? Okay. Okay. Carl?
Good evening. I'm Carl Bloom, 3 Marquee Manor, Morgan City, Louisiana. Here representing Bng Food Enterprises concerning the site plan approval.
And what's your position with the company, please?
I'm sorry,
Your position with the company?
I'm the architect for the
Architect?
project.
Okay. Good.
Bng Food Enterprises is a family-owned business headquartered in Morgan City. Started 38 years ago with 1 Taco Bell and now has 158. All of coastal Mississippi up to Highway 190 is actually, those are Bng restaurants. They've been looking at Diamondhead for a number of years. We've looked at about 4 or 5 different sites. Finally settled on this one as the appropriate place. We've had excellent cooperation from everyone with the city. They've been extremely helpful in guiding us through the guidelines for development as well as through the process of coming for you tonight. The restaurants have changed, particularly in the fast food variety, over the last 2 years with the pandemic, with Drive Up, which always was a large portion of their business, somewhere in the range of 50 to 60%. Now is more like 70 to 80. And that hasn't dropped, even though, dining rooms have reopened across the state. So we were looking for a site that would, serve the citizens of Diamondhead. We're really not expecting a tremendous amount of business off of I-10 because we're not located directly at the interchange. So it's more of a community type of development. We have normally in a Taco Bell, we have a 7 to 8 car stack space. On this property, we made sure we had more than that. We also are doing a double drive-through, which is one of the first ones in the country actually to be done this way, where we'll have 1 lane that will be for typical drive-up ordering. The second lane will be for app orders, for delivery, those types of electronic things. We have 14 cars of stack on site before we even get into the driveway of the restaurant. So that, as far as Taco Bell's typical business, even on a busy time, we won't have cars stacked up even in a parking lot, much less back out into the driveway and onto Aloha Drive. We want to be sure of that. We've worked with the upcoming redevelopment of the street that I think y'all did today, and responded to questions we got from the city about how we were gonna fit into that overall redevelopment plan that you've been working on. So what we've done is basically is screened off all of the drive-up lanes with planting and street trees. We've set back 10 feet from the sidewalk, be a complete open landscaped area. And we oriented the building, not our typical 90-degree to the street, but it's actually parallel to the street to fit better on the site and keep more of the parking space. The landowner and our landlord intends to pave a portion of the existing ground that used to be part of the right-of-way of the street for additional parking to replace a few spaces that we're taking up. In addition, we've created a sidewalk along the parking spaces that are adjacent to the shopping center parking. And we, assume that that's going to be shared parking space. We've made it convenient for anyone to park in the spaces on the opposite side of our main parking area and then walk to the other stores that are in the shopping center. So we try to do everything we can to make this as acceptable as possible to everyone. We found out, and this was one of the strangest things that we found here. We've been working on this for over 2.5 years now. When we sent preliminary plans into the city to review to give us an idea of whether we were going in the right direction. And we were told originally that the zoning was commercial and that, everything was fine. And then I think we discovered that it wasn't fine because drive-up was not allowed as a specific use under that ordinance. So that's really why we're here tonight. I hope you look favorably upon it, and I'll answer any questions you may have.
Commissioners, questions at this time?
I have one.
Sure.
Warren, Commissioner, I have a question. How have you
Go ahead.
accounted for the existing businesses that are directly behind you, and how it's going to affect their parking and their delivery?
As I said, we've put a sidewalk between the two parking areas to allow the 10 parking spaces we have facing the stores to be used by both parties as common parking. And
allow for 18-wheelers to make deliveries to the hardware store?
they'll be coming in from the side. Actually, they'll come into our parking lot and then back out. We get 2 deliveries a week with an 18-wheeler. That's the only 18-wheeler traffic that comes in.
What
To
about
the existing store behind you?
Deliveries to the hardware
to
store
the hardware
directly
store?
behind.
Mhm.
How would deliveries be made to the existing hardware store that'll be behind you?
How will deliveries be made to the hardware store?
Correct.
Yeah.
Not,
How will 18-wheelers be able to maneuver to get access to those deliveries when your store is positioned where it is slotted to be? Has that been studied? Has that been verified? That business will not be affected by this?
I have not verified that, no. We remember, we were leasing this property from the owner of the shopping center. So if there are other issues that come up that are related to his other tenants, those are really his to resolve with his tenants. It's out of my control.
Well, it's also the planning and zoning duty to make sure that other businesses are not, existing businesses are not harmed by incoming businesses. So that's why I'm asking the question. And
I understand.
If you're the incoming business, I think that you all need to answer that question.
Okay, I don't think Mr. Grotowski's here tonight.
No. No, he's not.
But that would have to be addressed to the landowner and landlord.
So you're telling me right now that if the planning and zoning commission wants a plan for how you are not going to interfere with existing businesses, you don't have one?
I was never asked to do that, no, sir.
Okay.
Okay, that's something
You, the question's already been asked.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, what the ordinance says, it says abutting sites. This is all one site owned by Diamondhead Commercial Properties. The only abutting site to here would be Rouse's.
That's not correct.
It is one parcel of land owned by one individual.
It states in our policy, okay, that any building within 100 feet or existing businesses that can be directly affected, okay, regardless whether they're abutting or not, and the parking lot abuts the other businesses, okay, that adversely are going to be affected by this.
I'll read from the ordinances.
2.4.7, okay?
I'll read from the ordinance. The ordinance says, or permitted, be compatible with any existing or permitted uses on abutting sites or within 100 feet of the proposed development. We have a developer with a site. If there is a problem with access to one of those businesses on that site, that is between the developer, the landlord, and the tenant.
The commission has no issue with that statement, okay? What we're saying is the overall plan needs to be reviewed with, this is not B&G, okay? This is setting you guys aside, but the plan has to be reviewed with us on a complete basis because it's not just one location, okay? Let me follow. The plot of land which only addresses the building location and the drive-through area directly affects existing businesses in the pharmacy, for example, True Value, et cetera. And it says in 2.4.2E, the location of existing and proposed site improvements, including parking, loading areas, pedestrian, vehicle access, utility, and service areas, and fencing, shall be considered and addressed by the zoning commission. Okay? The location and dimension of shown numbers of arrangements of all other spaces and yards, landscaping, fences, and buffers are all to be considered by the zoning commission. Okay? The description of any proposed industrial commercial operation is sufficient and detailed to indicate hazards, traffic congestions, and safety hazards. We could have a potential safety hazard here.
How?
Public safety is, would you let me finish, please? Because I have been there on Fridays afternoon, 3 consecutive Fridays, and I've watched people literally get hit by cars, trafficking from one side to the other. I've seen individuals where they're coming in to do business with True Value, okay? And they're contractors coming in with vehicles that have trailers behind them.
Mm-hmm.
They basically block a large area there, basically 3 parking spots, which would interfere with their drive-through, okay? Once these individuals drive into the parking lots where we're going to be having True Value, those people, once this drive-through is in place, can't get out because that's in the drive-through lane. The drive-through lanes go through that parking area. This is something that can be solved, but we need to work on it together as a group to get it resolved, is all I'm saying. There's a lot of safety concerns here. A lot of additional traffic is going to be generated there. In that whole area, we have a concern because Rouse's, I even know what Rouse's is like on a Friday afternoon, okay? I know what the memorial opening is going to be like. There's going to be a tremendous increase in traffic there. We have to protect our citizens. That's our responsibility, not only as commission members, but as citizens. We just simply have to work together on this and come up with a good plan that protects the situation that we're looking at so that a business such as Taco Bell can operate safely, and we can also keep the businesses that are existing operating to the current level they're operating right now. These are important commercial, if you will, citizens of our community. We're not arguing with the fact that Taco Bell can be built here. We're arguing with the fact that drive-through is going to create some problems that we need to be addressed from a traffic concern. And now you're going to have 2 more lanes of traffic coming out onto that same street. That's a concern from my perspective.
Okay.
Because drive-throughs empty back out into the area. You're moving the driving entrance further down the parking lot, which is fine, okay? That will, and it says alleviate that immediate congestion next to Rouse's. But Bill brought up a very good question. How are deliveries going to occur to the existing businesses?
I'll be more than happy to address that in my recommendation.
Well, we'll look forward to hearing them.
Thank you.
Can I add one thing just to give you
Yeah.
an idea of how much traffic we're talking about? We just had a traffic study done on another project where we're gonna have to add a turning lane off of the highway.
Mm-hmm.
And the traffic study indicated that we generate 34 cars per hour. That's the average. Most of those are, of course, at lunchtime where they're fairly busy, but Taco Bell is much busier at night, from 5:30 until 2 o'clock or whatever else they're able to open here. Probably does 50% of their business. So one thing to remember is that the traffic generated and the parking needed is going to be in a concentrated time where the retailers need that basically all day long. So there's not as much of an impact as you might think. And that's straight from Urban Institute.
Traffic per hour, is that based on 24 hours, or is that,
No,
is it based on actual, business hours for the other businesses, say 8 to 5?
would you repeat the question?
Yeah, you're given a figure of 34,
Yeah, that's an average. That's correct.
traffic cars per hour.
Right.
Is that on a 24-hour clock, or is that during normal business hours from 8 to 5?
That was done on an 8 to 8, as I recall. And, this was done by urban planners from New Orleans who does an awful lot of traffic studies across the southern part of Louisiana.
Do you
So-
have,
Have you done study in Diamondhead?
I'm sorry?
Have you done that traffic study in Diamondhead at the site within?
No, sir. That's about $10,000, and we have not been asked to do that by the city, so no, sir, we have not.
fair enough. Okay. Commissioners?
Were there other sites looked at?
Yes, ma'am. We looked at, first of all, a site next to the Hancock Whitney Bank in the parking lot. We looked at a site further over to the east. We looked at a site adjacent to the one we're building on, back, closer to the entrance to Diamondhead. And we looked at an office that was available closer to the interstate, but a deal could not be made on real estate. As I said, this has been a 2.5-year process of trying to find the right site to get this facility built in Diamondhead.
What made this particular piece of land desirable for the location?
The strip where we're locating was considered desirable either side of the street. But the developer, we tried to make it work on the other sites and really couldn't make the parking work because of the configuration of that part of the property. So this one, because part of the land is undeveloped and he was also ceded some area of land when the street right-of-way was narrowed, became the prime place for us to look. It really didn't work until that took place, until that extra property was allocated to him.
Okay.
I do have another question, is about the straightening of Aloha Drive West between basically the liquor store and Ralph's. That was a project that's already been approved. How does this site plan fit in to that project, and has that been worked out?
Staff?
Yes, in fact, they changed the design of their store, or the way they fix their store there to accommodate what is planned for that East Aloha road improvement. In fact, those bids, I believe, are going to be they were opened, and I believe they're coming up to the council for acceptance to start doing it. There's funding involved with it, et cetera. So those plans, and And Taco Bell was consulted on this in making their placement of their store.
When will those plans be made available to the planning commission, just not for our review, just for our information?
It was published, it was approved at a city council meeting. It was published on the website. I have a drawing up there, top right-hand corner,
Okay.
that shows what the plan for that looks like, the road, and also what is envisioned as far as
What are the
the
dates
commercials.
for this?
Pardon me?
What are the proposed dates for this?
I cannot answer that question.
This has been part of the city council. These plans have been in the works with engineering
Oh,
firm
we're
that's
aware of
worked with
that,
the
so we
city.
just
And so
was wondering when this would be.
phase
commenced.
one is the sidewalks in the street. As Mr. Pat pointed out, that's been bid out. So construction on that's going to start, here within a matter of months. Phase two is the more, that's actually putting in some more infrastructure. And as you can see, the density of East Aloha is going to dramatically change as this new downtown is developed.
Okay.
My question is this Taco Bell plotted for the existing East Aloha or the planned East Aloha?
The planned,
The plan.
Planned.
Bill.
the planned.
Okay, so then the Taco Bell cannot begin construction until the East Aloha improvement has been made.
They can happen at the same time. I'm not a contractor, but they'll be happening kind of at the same time, is my understanding.
Our schedule calls for us to bid the project probably in February, start as soon as we get permit approval, and hopefully be open by the summer. And I think that dovetails fairly well with the road construction project.
Mike, can you enlighten us on that, please? Mike, we're talking about Mike Grizzo, our city manager.
All the right-of-way has been acquired and
Okay.
it's done for East Aloha improvement with the property owner. That's all been factored in to this development. And we're dealing with Orion Planning, laying it out, and they've made concessions to kind of put it in position so it fits
Right.
well with what we're trying to do.
Okay, but do we have I don't mean exact dates, but can you give us some kind of a
We opened
time
bids
frame?
last week for phase one, that's putting curb-to-curb, improvements, so
Mhm.
parallel parking, call-outs, things like that. We hope to have that in front of the council, that's up to them to decide if they're gonna approve that bid or not at the next council meeting.
Okay,
If they approve, then we move forward with construction.
okay.
Do we have a timeline for construction?
Quickly as possible if the council says yes.
So we're talking about January, February timeframe probably, I would
But
imagine.
I'm talking about the period,
We're gonna-
construction time period.
It may take a little longer just because we gotta keep the road open.
Okay.
Yeah, that's gonna take a while to yeah.
It's not like you just shut it down.
But we'll certainly work with that.
Okay.
It would be in our best interest not to open until that road is completed, obviously, so
Okay.
we'll work with that.
Any other questions for Carl? Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you. We have several citizens that have signed up to speak. Dawn Littleiter, if I pronounced that wrong. Dawn? Come up and state your name and your address, please.
I'm Dawn Letelier, and my husband and I, Rudy Letelier, he's here with me too. We own Pharmacy in Diamondhead, 4405 AA East Aloha Drive. And we just want to make sure that there is adequate parking, like per parking place. And the only thing that concerned me just now was whenever the architect mentioned that there would be shared parking. And I just need to make sure that the shared parking is all within the ordinances for the city for shared parking.
Yes, that is part of the ordinances in the cities for shared parking.
Okay.
And it would be an agreement between Taco Bell and I guess the developer would be. But yes, shared parking is allowed.
Shared parking allowed, but like this, the required number of parking places for the ordinance.
Right. It does
Yes.
meet, this plan does meet the required parking spaces, and it allows for, the existing businesses still have the required parking spaces, correct me if I'm wrong, Pat, that they still
Yeah.
have the parking spaces that
Yes.
they are required to have by ordinance.
Yes,
Per square foot for the building. Okay.
right.
And then, we're open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So I just want to make sure that traffic flow is, like, we're there till 6 o'clock, and people have asked us to stay longer, that while Taco Bell is very busy at 6 p.m., we are also busy at 6 p.m. with people trying to make sure that they have their medicine. And people don't come see us because they feel good. They come see us because they don't feel good. And then the other thing that we're concerned about is what has been brought up, increased traffic and life safety. We just need to make sure that it's safe with all that extra traffic coming through, that the people coming to see us are safe. Those are just the considerations that we would ask the council to consider. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank you. David, is it Bourne or Roan?
Bone.
John,
Yes, Bill.
I have a question, because she brought up, parking, and they were discussing it. Is this parking, in line with the current, rules, or the, proposed parking plan and parking requirements that we approved, at a, probably a year ago, which I'm not sure if those have taken effect yet.
Yes, they have taken effect, and it's the new parking requirements that were approved, several months ago.
Okay. All right. David? Just state your name and your address, please.
My name is David Bone. I reside at 9850 Kalamuki Court. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I want to focus a little bit on Diamondhead Envision 2040 plan. That there's been a lot of work done on that plan, been approved by the Commission, by the city. Very good plan. And when I look at the proposed drive-through restaurant, it makes me question a little bit, are we really following that plan? Like I mentioned, the plan was approved in July. A lot of good work put into it, a lot of folks participated in it, and a lot of the residents here in Diamondhead participated in it also. I want to read a couple things to you, if you don't mind. Over on this side here, it talked about more of a Main Street concept. Safety, get your golf carts in there, your bikes in there. Streets are going to be lined up. Small businesses down the side there. I'm going to show you a little bit different map. I'm going to show you the map that's in the plan itself. That's what it kind of looks like. Even the size of that building looks like it's extraordinary, different size than what's in this plan. I know it's the plan, but some of the things in this plan says that Main Street concept, create a pedestrian-friendly, talking about safety here a little bit, vibrant public place where residents and visitors can gather. It's going to enhance the district qualities. The design elements include public squares. Include public spaces for gathering, sidewalks, pavers, streets, trees, grates, custom benches, bike racks, brightly covered cafe tables, strung lighting, local artists, structures, dimensional signage, flowering landscapes. Give the locals and visitors a reason to step out of their cars and hang out in a vibrant commercial corner and help establish a lower drive and the downtown as the core of this community, Does that sound like a drive-through restaurant to you? I ask you, please, consider this plan as you make your decision and make your recommendation to the council. Because I think we also need to talk to the council no matter what the decision is made here. Is this really following with our initial plan? I am for growth. I want to make it clear, I am for growth. Let's do smart growth. Is there another place for Taco Bell that's over where our drive-ins already are? Heard Commissioner Flowers, I believe, asked that question. Great question. How we really pursue those areas. Safety, utmost. Commissioner Ubar, thank you for talking about that. This is supposed to be an area I thought is I did not participate in this plan, but as a resident, I listened and watched. That was going to be, well, you can bring your golf carts up here, your family's up here, your bikes up here, more of a hangout place, and I'm going to use the word like maybe Bay St. Louis, a little area there where you can feel comfortable and safe. I ask you please consider that as you either vote to approve or disapprove this plan. That's all I have. Thank you for your time, and thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you for speaking. Tim C. Milton. Mr. Milton?
Dempsey Milton, 9426 Kawana Place. Commissioners, Mr. Chairman, staff. I've been trying to keep up with everything that's being said, and I don't have one thing that on my list that hasn't already been talked about. It's a very good comment about public safety. That's my biggest concern. So please, that was a very, very good point that he made. Is it really going to fit with the plan that the city's already put in place? It's going to be a lot big increase in people traffic. If I'm in a car, my truck, I get hit. If I'm walking down the street, I'm on a bicycle, God forbid I'm in a golf cart, I ain't got nothing protecting me. But that's really about it for right now. Merry Christmas to all of you. Have a safe and happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Dempsey. Dale?
Council, Commissioner, how are y'all?
Name and address, please.
I am Dale Barfield, owner of Diamondhead True Value at 4405-A Aloha. I'm asking to bring up a stand with a picture just to help express our feelings. This is the average of what we see. This was 1 week of trucks and trailers and et cetera in our parking lot.
Can you set it more like an angle so some of the audience could see as well? Yeah, that's a little better. Yeah, perfect, thank you. Or better, anyway.
The area that Taco Bell is asking to build is literally in our parking lot, right in front of the store. This would take away half of our parking, allowing us 2 rows of single vehicle parking. This will be taking the large vehicle, including trucks and trailers, parking away. The new Taco Bell will make the traffic even more horrendous than it already is. And if you live in Diamond Head, you know the traffic. Parking for our customer will be limited to, say the least, and impossible for trucks and trailers, which makes up 40% of our customer base. You can see. Diamond Head was established as an elder retirement community. We have a lot of elders that come in the hardware that scare me to death about parking now. You know, parking will become a very challenge event. 18-wheeler parking will not exist unless we unload all the way on the other end of the strip mall. Loading customers will become a very hard ordeal due to the limited parking areas. Construction of the Taco Bell will even cause more problems during the construction. True Value is asking, and you please answer, the planning zone to please consider a traffic study on the impact of the business. We need to know because we know how busy it is. True Value will lose a large portion of their business due to access to the business of the parking. The city has informed me that in the future there will be accessibility in the back of the strip mall for employee parking and trucking unloading. But when we asked when this will be done, there was no answer.
This should be completed before the Taco Bell is open for 18-wheeler access. Ultimately, the Taco Bell will create a huge traffic problem and will block our frontage. Can I just point? Can I walk over there and point a couple of things? It's hard to see the bottom track, but this is one of the single parts. The other one is here. Storefront is here. So you're asking cars to come in and park. Well, they're actually allowing access to the drive-through through our parking too. So what happens, what he said about blocking the street itself, what happens when they start coming this way? And this is just too much congestion. I'm scared to death of what's gonna happen in the parking lot. And also, as you can see, our butane tank is right here. How's a truck gonna get in there and fill the butane off?
Dale, my question to you is that, if I understand this right, and this is not reflected on Taco Bell, okay, just please bear with us. This is more of the developers, and so the city, that's what we're gonna need your help in understanding this, okay? Is that the way it's been, I understand, it's been explained to us, is that there's gonna be two access, drive-throughs, okay? One they do through apps on the website, I guess, and the other one's call in or come up and order right there, okay? So you're going to have two lanes of traffic coming into those two different order areas, correct? Okay. And they're gonna be funneling through that parking lot area. Dale, can you show us where they're going to be driving through those two different lanes?
Here's the Taco Bell actual entry to the drive-through and parking. Then they're gonna come here into our parking, and that's gonna be access too. So I guess I'm asking, is Taco Bell telling us that it's okay, because they have an arrow point, is it okay for our customers to come here and access? Or, you know, I'm not sure how this is gonna lay out. Sure. That's okay with me.
Carl, can you speak up just a little bit, please? Because we can't hear you. Yeah, I'm deaf. so. Mhm.
But only one lane at a time is going out, because so we have double drive-through, you can only service one customer at a time.
Okay, where are those, where are they gonna be stacked up? Where the cars gonna be stacked up?
They get stacked up from the drive-up windows here, the second drive-up window is here.
Uh-huh, but that's when they're finished with their orders, but when they're placing their orders.
So we have 6 cars here, and then we have another 8.
Right, that's what I thought, that's what I'm trying to get
Drive-up
at.
lane back out.
'Cause they're gonna,
So the chances of anything, that's what I was talking about before, as far as even stacking up here, is remote. It just doesn't happen that often.
okay, but you're saying with 35 cars an hour, you break that down with 5-minute, 10-minute increments. That could be 6 to 7 vehicles.
Well, as I said, the typical stack is 7 or 8 cars.
Well, that's quite a few cars though. But go ahead, that's fair. Go ahead. Heather?
As far as, I don't think there's any chance of a customer going past this driveway and coming back and accessing here. This would actually make this walking accessible to the other part of the parking lot. And what I was talking about earlier, the sidewalk that we included here along the existing parking spaces and then along these parking spaces is all tied together so that if the customer going to food alley wants to park here, they can do that, and then they have an easy walk to get back into the other parking. So, try to accommodate that as best we could. This is a total of 10 additional parking spaces. And I'll quit with this. With the seating in restaurants has been going down because of the increase in driving numbers. So a typical 40-seat restaurant now has turned into a 22-seat restaurant with a patio cover here for another 10 seats. And that was part of our conversations with the city, to have that patio outdoor dining space to make it more part of the streetscape. And eventually that
Okay.
downtown area gets developed. But I hope that answers the question.
Okay. He had it, and I'm not, but At lunch, it's gonna be full. So I guess I'm asking about the shared, now he's saying that we can share it. First off, why can't we eliminate this to allow truck and trailer? Second off, are you, I'm only saying, are you saying that my 18-wheeler can back into your shared parking lot to unload?
Our 18-wheelers will back.
My,
Well, you have another row of parking in front of you, right?
when the 18-wheeler pulls in, you block all parking.
Understood.
I'm just asking, you're saying shared, you said my customers can park here, then the 18-wheeler, that's, you don't see it. It's my gate right over here. That's all I'm asking. I don't wanna cause conflict, but I'm saying if it's shared, is it shared all the way?
Well, if your 18-wheeler backs in and stops, and it blocks all of our access.
That's what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
think so.
Okay. So that was it. Now, also, the back door access of what they're saying they're gonna do is actually coming all the way and coming behind. That's a good idea. How long before we see that? You know, because as long as that's not there, where are we at here? You know, with the 18-wheelers and the truck and trailer. That's why I'm saying, can we eliminate this and have, sure, a sidewalk's pretty, but access is another good. You know, good. Anything else over here? I just wanted to prove, just show what's gonna happen here. Cause we're gonna have a lot of traffic going in and out. True Value and Taco Bell, it's gonna be congested. Sure, there's gonna be times when there won't be anything in here, but at times, it's here. And what do we do with the truck and trailer?
Behind your store, how much room is there for a tractor trailer behind it?
We have parking there, we have where the dumpsters are now, that a truck can come down through there, there's power lines and et cetera. All of that has to be fixed. Now, I'm understanding, I guess the city can answer this, that they've talked about extending the concrete to make a double drive or a double lane. Can I ask?
Yes, you can ask, but that is one of the things that the city has tasked the engineers to look at, is an alternate route for 18-wheelers to access both that shopping center and Rouse's. Something that we're concerned about, the safety of people and the walkability of the new East Aloha and the new development that we hope will occur along that corridor there. And we don't want 18-wheelers going down there, so we're working to come up with an alternative to that, okay? That is one of the things that's being considered, and of course, we have to determine acquisition rights, et cetera, okay? But to move 18-wheelers off of the East Aloha.
Aloha, yep, good plan. But my question is, how are we progressing on that? You said you're gonna have an engineering study done?
That is in the process
Okay.
now of having that, and then also to go out and seek grants to help with the funding of that.
Sure,
But
sure.
we have to have the engineering done first, so,
Right.
yes, that plan is in motion. I cannot give you a
I
date.
think it's important that we coordinate that with the street being developed as well as Taco Bell being developed. Mike?
Let me just make sure we're clear on that. Orion Planning, through the comprehensive planning process, was, and the whole revitalization of the East Aloha District, was looking at an alternative route for 18-wheelers to get them off of East
Sure.
Aloha.
Absolutely.
So they can go behind all the shopping centers, behind
Right.
Rouse's, behind the north side as well, and then loop out. Okay?
Exactly.
There's a picture of it on the bottom right-hand corner of what Orion has come up with. So we don't have engineers working on this yet. I just want to clarify that there's no work assignment.
Okay.
Or that council has not directed that. We are looking at it with Covington in particular, because we've got to submit another grant application, which I haven't presented to the council yet, to say, look at from, west of Aloha all the way to Kalani, and then tying it in. So that's getting looked at to see, okay, what's this kind of cost, so we can factor in a grant application
Right.
for GRPC.
And just, if you could, we could just talk to you for a few minutes.
I can try.
I think what's important here is that that kind of communication gets to us, and sometimes it doesn't get to us, okay? Because you do a lot of good work in trying to get these done, and you're really great with grants. I've never seen somebody get as many grants as you do, so that's incredible. You do it.
Council's good at begging.
Whatever. Anyway, I'm totally impressed, okay? So, with your ability to get grants. But here's our concern for the businesses and the citizens of Diamond Head, as I'm looking at it, and I can only speak for myself, is that there's gonna be some disruption with Taco Bell in the construction of this, okay? There's just going to be. You can't prevent that, and we understand that. There's gonna be construction and interference to Rouse's and everybody else down the street when we're redoing the street. My concern I wanna put in front of you, and we've talked, some of the commissioners and I have talked about, is that whatever you're proposing for that Aloha, East Aloha, or was it West Aloha, right, whichever Aloha it is, that you're taking in the volume of traffic we're going to be, not now, but in the future, because you're putting, I think the plan is great, okay? I think Orion's done a really good job in doing that. We've gotta really have enough of a volume, space to handle the volume on that street. And I'm talking, I don't think 2 lanes is gonna do it, okay, to be honest with you. Maybe 3 lanes or 4 lanes, I don't think there's enough space there, but, you know, I think, or we have to redirect the traffic in certain areas to affect an effective mode of transportation, because I know what it's like trying to get out of the Rouse's parking lot on a Friday evening, okay? It's a catch as catch can. And then when you get to the bank and you're on your left or right, God help you, you know, because people don't turn on turn signals, and you know what that's all like. So we already have a real cluster traffic problem there, and I think we're trying to fix that. But we're concerned that there's not going to be enough of a fix to handle the increased traffic volume, because the plan is a great plan, and we're going to be putting a lot more people and a lot more money into the economy here, which is, I think, great. But I'm just concerned about that, Mike. I'm just expressing a concern.
Yeah, I'm sure the council's gonna address it.
I'm sorry?
The council, I'm sure, is gonna address that. You know, that's
What is
gonna
gonna
be
address
definitely
that?
looked at. The city council.
Okay. Yeah, well, all we can do is sit back and watch and, you know, voice our concerns. Of course, city council's here, so that helps, that we have a voice with them. But that concerns us in the sense of traffic safety.
And the whole point of the design that they've come up with for East Aloha, it's purposely tighter. It's to slow traffic down, to make it safer. That's why it's 11-foot lanes, sidewalks, bulb out, parallel parking. That's
Will
all
that just cause a
part of it,
backup onto
because
other
you're slowing
highways?
traffic down because it's tighter compared to what you see on West Aloha and Kalani. It's a wide open,
Mm-hmm.
and people are moving.
Granted.
So
But
it's intended to
okay.
pump the brakes, so it's walkable and bikeable.
My only concern is that, agree, I think that's gonna help, but will it just cause more backup and more congestion if we narrow it? I mean, we don't know. We won't gonna know until we get there, probably, okay? That's just a thought.
That's why we have urban planners and engineers.
I've lived in 14 cities, and every time we go through this and narrowing and trying to do this in Seattle, we had a nightmare on our hands. And if you've been out to the fish market, you know what we had to do. We had to rip everything out and start all over again. Bill, you have something to say? A question? Yep.
I just said that, that's why we need to have a study done. We can't just, we're starting to do something without knowing what the result's gonna be, which is kind of backwards for the planning and zoning commission. We're supposed to plan, not react.
Okay. All right. Dale, anything else? Sorry, I didn't mean to take into your time. I'm sorry.
It's just gonna take away, can we even talk about, if this was eliminated, you'd almost have room for trucks and trailers. I'm all for a Taco Bell in Diamond. It's been a dream here forever, you know, but, I just can't help but think this. I mean, finish it up. You know, we've talked about everything, but in the real world, if this gets approved, point blank, it's gonna be detrimental to my business. People aren't gonna be able to access like they want. I've been told that, well, if they need something, they don't mind walking from way over there to come get it. People care now. People don't wanna do that anymore. You know, they want easy. So, and I just ask for y'all to think about this. This is a real deal, you know. And once it's here, it's here. There's no changing. So please just thank you for your time, and I just appreciate listening to me. So everything good?
Everything's good.
Thank y'all.
David Flowers? Oh, yes, sir? Oh, if you wanted, excuse me, sir, can you identify yourself and who you are?
Ronald Wenzel. I live on 780 College Court down here. When they exit out here and you're turning back on to the road, you're gonna have a bunch of people coming here, plus all the people that's coming out of all these other small places here, and the traffic's coming this way. Eventually, this is gonna back up here too. It's gonna cause a backup. It's gonna back up this way. Something to think about.
Okay, thank you, sir. David?
Hi, good evening. I'm Dave Flowers. I live at 7922 Leahy Court. I don't want to beat a dead horse here. I think a lot of good points have been made. So I basically came in support of Mr. Barfield here and the true value. But as we were sitting here talking about it, I thought of another thing. I lived here when the whatever planning and zoning approved the Burger King parking lot. And I think we can all agree that leading into that four-way stop is not a good way, right? And my concern is that without the proper studies that have been brought up a couple of times, we're going to end up with the same thing with this Taco Bell. The other piece is when I talk to people throughout the coast, I work over in Biloxi, and people know about Diamondhead. I mean, they joke, they call it Dollarhead. That's another thing that we might want to start looking to avoid as well. My whole thing is I don't think that this application meets the spirit and intent of what the Envision Diamondhead plan was, which I did take part in. And I do not think that this is in the best interest of the city of Diamondhead. And I mean, that's straight from the statement of purpose here. So once again, don't want to beat the dead horse, so I'll leave it at that. But please consider that, and please take this into account whenever you make your decisions. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Mr. Pat, you're up.
Thank you. Okay, first of all, I'd like to remind everybody that this, unlike most things that come before the Planning Commission tonight has approval process, approval or denial. It does not go to the City Council unless it is appealed by any party. Any interested party can appeal the Planning and Zoning Commission, and then it would go to the City Council. Okay? I want to make that statement clear. There have been some good points brought up tonight, some very valid concerns. I think we've talked about the comprehensive plan, what the plans were for the East Aloha Commercial District, which is one of the things that the citizens said that they wanted to see some improvement in, is in our existing commercial district, making it where it was had more opportunities for our residents to shop, more activities for them, more restaurants, et cetera, et cetera. Also, we've talked about some alternative routing plans. I think Dale brought up a very good point about that shrubbery there. It is required as part of delineation from other businesses there. But if it's going to be a shared parking lot, I think that's something that we can certainly look at and possibly increase the aisle width between the two parking areas, okay? Bring them closer together. But that's something that we can work with the architect on to see if we can come up with a solution on that. So that would be part of the recommendation going forward, is for us to work in that manner, okay? Addressing some of the parking and traffic concerns, as Carl stated, they're not anticipating a whole lot of I-10 traffic because it's not right there on the interstate, right there at the exit. People have to drive quite a way to get that. They're building this drive-through in this restaurant for citizens of Diamondhead. So I don't think the traffic increase is going to be that great because we're not going to get the traffic off the interstate, okay? Safety, of course, is a very important issue to us in the city, and part of those safety issues is to design something like is for the East Aloha district right there, having golf cart parking, which is included in the plan, having bicycle parking, okay, having parallel parking, and some pavers and walkways across the street to encourage that foot traffic and to slow down the automobile traffic on that portion of it. There is another entrance into the shopping center to the far left, or to the western portion of it there, behind the liquor store there. So there is another entrance into the parking lot there that people can get to. So I think we have addressed many of these issues, and so therefore I'd like to get into the recommendation of the staff. What we're looking at again here is, and the reason it's before us is because this is a drive-in restaurant. As I stated before, if it didn't have a drive-in, if it was just a Taco Bell or whatever it is, you could have the restaurant there and it would never have come before this board, okay? So we're looking at it from the standpoint of looking at the drive-through, and does it meet, the site plans meet the requirements that we have, okay? So all the site plans, the site plan does comply with the applicable regulations and standards established by the zoning regulations, except as we noted on the site plan review, which is in your packet, okay? For example, it meets the building height, the maximum building site coverage, maximum of 75%. This one is only 9%. The minimum lot length exceeds that. Parking spaces. They comply with the number of parking spaces, in fact exceed that. I believe only 16 are required, and I believe they've got 20. The queuing space for the drive-through. It's a 9-foot by 50-foot queue. They actually have two 12-foot by 160-foot queues, okay, holding, how many, 14 cars? Yeah, 14 cars. So it's basically double what the requirement of the ordinance requirement is that they are providing here. Okay. They meet the accessibility standards and also the handicap parking standards. The things that we need more information on is the grading and surface drainage, and we'll get these things from the construction plans. These are preliminary site plans here, provided by the architect, not the actual construction plans, okay? And then the stormwater issues, where those things are going to drain. I understand it's going to be subsurface drainage there, but we still need to talk about that. And then there's some other issues that will be cleared up during the construction process there, including the lighting there, and make sure we have the proper lumens and not reflected on other buildings and the street. And also make sure that they comply with the sign ordinances also, okay? So those are the issues that we have to, left to deal with, but it all can be worked through the construction process, construction review process, okay? All right, the business is compatible with other businesses on this and abutting sites. There's another restaurant on this site and several more on abutting sites, okay? This is a shopping mall, okay? Commercially zoned, so the business is compatible with that, okay? As far as the unfavorable effects, I think we've discussed those, okay? I will say this, I think there's some leeway, I think there's some alternate ways that can be handled as far as the 18-wheelers and also the customers coming in with trailers, et cetera, okay? If I may, if this works. Okay, it doesn't work. First of all, this street is being made wider than it is currently, okay? Construction. So this street is being made wider, all right? Which will, I think, make it easier, all right? Now, as far as the 18-wheelers are concerned, today, as my understanding is, the 18-wheeler comes in here, passes through here, and then parks right about here, okay? By the second bay, all right? Between the second bay and the back over there. And then forklift comes out here and unloads the 18-wheeler, okay? Is that pretty much right there? Okay. All right. An alternative method of handling that would be the 18-wheeler coming here and then park here. And they can get out that way without having to back up, okay? And circle around and come back and go out to the other entrance, or if there's another way we've got, that can be here, and then the forklift is driving here, okay? To pick that up. Most of the traffic for there, for Taco Bell, is gonna be coming through here. Not gonna be going here, as already the other, all right? So, you could accommodate 18-wheelers there, okay?
Can I ask a question? Not allowed? What about my customer?
Your customers, okay? There is plenty of parking here in the parking lot, park trailers, et cetera.
I was talking about going into the single parking areas, if the truck was parked there, and we're going back and forth with the forklift.
Well, there's still plenty of parking along here.
So you're asking my customers to move on down.
Well, no, you still have your parking right here, sir.
They can't get to an 18-wheeler park right now.
That's what we're saying.
Okay, 18-wheeler is here, okay? You still have all this parking bay right here.
The pharmacy has that.
I'm sorry?
The pharmacy has that. They're beside us.
Okay,
Can I come up?
excuse me, you had your turn. Okay, fine. So there are some alternatives. Now, are they perfect? No. But there are alternatives. That's all I'm pointing out. I'm not saying it's gotta be done this way. I'm saying there are alternatives. and to address the 18-wheeler issue. Okay, so, again, I want to make the point that this property is owned by Diamondhead Community Development. The entire site there is, plus the site across the street, is owned by that, okay? So, as far as abutting properties are concerned, as described in the zoning ordinance, the only one is Rouse's, and there should be little or no impact on Rouse's. Is there going to be additional traffic? Yes, but additional traffic is what a business owner wants and should be happy with. And it's up to us when we're designing this to be able to handle that additional traffic. Let businesses grow. While the staff and this commission hear and understand concerns expressed by the tenants of this property, these concerns cannot be factored into our decision process. Any concerns from tenants regarding development of the property should be addressed to the landlord of the property and not to the city. This commission should not interfere with the landlord-tenant relationship. The modifications we are recommending to this is that grading surface drainage, we need larger detail to determine if in compliance. We need to establish where the stormwater is going. We'll home in on the lighting and ensure that the signs are compliant. And this will be part of the construction plan process. But based upon what we have before us and what the ordinance requires us to do, the staff recommends to approve the site plans for Taco Bell's with those conditions. Questions? It's a preliminary site plan, yes. Well, we're already talking about modifying a portion of it, yes. I could not agree with you more. Yes, okay. That is what the staff is recommending, as well as our legal team is recommending, is that this is an issue between the tenant and the landlord, not with Taco Bell and another tenant, and not with the city approving or denying this based on conditions that need to be handled by the landlord.
And I think another way of putting that is the city's got to require that these businesses have minimums. And per our ordinance with our parking ordinance that we just recently amended, and then importantly for this project with the drive-through and with the queuing spaces. It's our job as a city to require, so to make sure that at least the minimums are there. And in that case, I think what Mr. Pat, as part of his recommendation, is Taco Bell has more than the minimum queuing and parking spaces, and it leaves the adjoining businesses that are located on the same property with the required number of spaces that they need. If those businesses would want additional parking space that's an issue between them and their landlord. It's for us as we look at it, they meet the requirements, and it leaves the adjoining properties with the minimum that they're required. And so that's the analysis that the building official goes through when he makes a recommendation to approve or not approve.
For example, thank you. For example, True Value, under the new parking ordinances, True Value is required to have 16 parking spots. They have far in excess of 16 parking spots available to them. I think the pharmacy is required 10, if I'm not correct. they have that. And you go on down the line, and each one of them has the required number of parking spaces in that shopping center.
John?
Yes, Bill?
I have a question, and it's kind of an issue, because I believe that we're kind of not getting the full truth just based on the statement that Taco Bell wants to locate there without any I-10 traffic. And I believe the statement was made that it was so far away from I-10 that traffic wouldn't flow there. Those two statements are completely non-conformatory towards building a business. There is no way that the town of Diamondhead, 9,000 people, is expected to support that size of Taco Bell without additional traffic from I-10. So that whole premise that it's all being built for the community, that they're not expecting I-10 traffic to come in because of its proximity to I-10, there is no way that they have actually done a valid study, or they wouldn't be putting Taco Bell there. They have to know that it's gonna bring in more traffic from I-10. It's not just Diamondhead traffic that's gonna be coming to this facility. Diamondhead is too small to support a Taco Bell. And I would like to hear from their architect or from their, whoever they have there, how many customers they need a day to be viable. And then we can talk about how much traffic is gonna flow through there today.
Bill, let me clarify that. I believe the statement was made that they didn't say they weren't expecting any, but they were expecting the majority of their traffic to come from the residents of Diamondhead.
I don't even think the majority of traffic is supported if it's coming from Diamondhead.
Well,
I think the majority of their traffic is gonna come from I-10. They are gonna get, I mean, the people of Diamondhead have too many other restaurant options. We're not all just gonna decide to eat Taco Bell every day.
I don't think anybody's saying that. I think what they're saying is this is another option brought to the table for the city residents of Diamondhead.
Traffic study with I-10 traffic flowing into that area is a very viable study that needs to be done. To make this out, that all the traffic is gonna be somebody that was already going to Rouse's and decides, hey, I'll just stop off at Taco Bell, that's not accurate. This is going to bring a lot more traffic into that tiny little area, and it's gonna bring it off the interstate, which, in my opinion, is good for the community, but not in that location. To bring more traffic into the community for things is great, but you can't bring it into the wrong spot, or it just makes the community worse, not better. And that's, we're doing planning and zoning, and that traffic study with the real numbers from Taco Bell, what they expect to come in off of the interstate, because their sign is gonna be on that green sign on I-10, that there's a Taco Bell there, how many people they expect, and they have those numbers. They know from every other little town, like Diamondhead, they have a Taco Bell, how many people come in off the interstate. So we need that information.
Carl, you have anything to add?
That's absolutely correct. What I said was, we would have a community store, but certainly that doesn't preclude the fact that we're gonna have traffic coming off of I-10. What I was referring to was that the typical Taco Bell at an interchange would be located in view of traffic. You wouldn't have to find a sign on the interstate or another sign to direct you to get to that location. So we're talking about a a reduced amount of traffic coming off of I-10. And if I misstated that, I'm sorry, but that's basically what we're talking about. It's not a high-traffic situation where if we were located when you got off the interchange, you saw the Taco Bell sign and you could pull right into it. It's far different than that because you really gonna have to go looking for it if you're not familiar with the area.
But would you not agree that in 2021, with everyone having a smartphone, that finding Taco Bell is gonna be a lot easier without a sign?
Certainly,
Okay.
certainly.
So I don't necessarily agree with you that I'm gonna have to go looking for it. I'm gonna have my app direct me right there.
Well, it would also tell you that if you go another 15 to 20 miles down the road, there's one right at the interchange. So, you know, I agree with what you're saying, but I don't think it's gonna be that strong a factor in people finding the store. I mean, we want them to find the store, obviously. The more people who find the store, the better. And remember, too, that when those people stop in Diamondhead, if they weren't gonna do that before, they're gonna leave their money and their taxes here.
Any other questions?
Commissioners?
I'm a little confused about, as you talked about the road behind, True Value for the 18-wheelers and things like that. It's being thought about, but any kind of idea of when it's gonna happen?
No, we're just in the very beginning phases of that.
Would there be any consideration to opening that easement between where the trees are so that those drivers could just pull straight through instead of having to back up 1,400 feet if they were offloading in the back? Because I do have concern, you were suggesting that the 18-wheeler park out front and then offload with the forklift there, so now you have a forklift intermingling with vehicle traffic. And having worked at a chemical plant and industrial sites, we typically do not mix
Vehicle traffic.
forklift and vehicle traffic together because that is an accident waiting to happen.
But it's
And you have
happening
pedestrian
today.
traffic.
Right.
But it's happening today.
What?
It's happening today. When he unloads from the parking lot, there's vehicle traffic there.
But to address your question, Commissioner Flowers, that's one of the, you guys could make that a condition, is that buffer zone or that sidewalk and that shrubbery not be there, and that allow trucks to pull through and to park in those spaces there. And it could be a condition.
Okay.
That's what you guys are, well, I mean, go ahead.
The angular configuration we have of the existing parking here, if these spaces turn to be 90 degrees to the back, then I've got one-way parking going in here. That is against Taco Bell rules. They want 90-degree parking everywhere. So I have a problem getting approval from Taco Bell to do anything. We're willing to work in any way we can with True Value if there's a way to make this work for us. And I'll be, willing to sit down later on, and talk to them, and see if we make it better. I'm just not sure how that's gonna happen with what we're working with. That, we won't, certainly want a dog leg parking space. That would be a disaster.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think the commissioners have heard enough.
Thank you.
Commissioners? I'll entertain a motion from the floor. We have different options we can make. We can,
Can we consider the conditional, making, it patable for True Value to have a loading zone or something in this,
I think-
if we run for approval?
here's my concern, okay? And I think we're all kind of on the same track. I think as commissioners, we need more information and more direction and working with the city group, okay, to get this resolved. Mr. Rich made a comment that we are not to interfere between a developer and a leasee. Well, that's not what we're talking about here.
Right.
We're talking about public safety. We want to make sure it's done. I disagree with the termination of abutting properties when you've got properties sharing the same common area of the parking. And all those businesses are going to be affected. So my opinion, this is just my opinion, and I don't know if anybody on the commission feels this way or not, but the pharmacy, True Value, Rouse's are just as important as Taco Bell. Okay? And I think all of those all those issues need to be addressed. Okay? And I don't think, I'm not talking about, you know, a huge time frame. I'm just simply saying the commission needs more information, needs to sit down with the city council in a working session so we have a better understanding of what can happen and what cannot happen in a timely fashion. We're talking about, as Commissioner Leal said, is that when's this access going to be done? We asked Mike, and he says, yeah, we're going to get that done. We're working on that right now. But we need to have a cohesive plan so we know this can be a successful thing. Okay? What we don't want to do is have something blow up in our faces. Okay? And I don't think this will, but I've been down this bike too many times and saying this is going to happen during construction. This is going to happen, and it doesn't happen. Okay? I've been in charge of multi-billion-dollar projects in refining. Okay? I know how things can go south in a hurry. Okay? I've sat down and worked with engineers for 25 years doing these things. And I don't want that to happen in Diamondhead because we all have worked too hard on the plan. I've watched the city council work hard with this commission to make sure we have a good plan. And I think we can have a good Taco Bell. We can have a good relationship. I just think we need to work out the details. And we don't have enough details to make a decision right now. Okay? That's all we're saying. The staff has done a lot of great work. But we're not where you are because you have a lot more surety about things than we do because we haven't had time to sit down and discuss it with you. Okay? We're not saying you guys haven't done a good job. We're just not where you are right now, and we need to have more details and more input from the city manager so we know where we're going and what we're doing. I think that's all where we're at. We don't have a lot of warm fuzzies around us right now, and we need those. And we depend on the city staff, building staff, to take us there, to get us there. And 99% of the time, you do it first time around. This is just an instance where we're not there yet, and we need your help getting us there. So what we'd like, I would entertain a motion that we table this until we have a chance to sit down with, or have a better understanding of this information from our building department.
Mr. Chairman, just one thought prior to taking up consideration of that motion. In the ordinance, it does require this commission to either approve or disapprove within 45 days of receipt of the application. Now, one of the things that's coming up before this commission on our agenda today is kind of modifying our notice procedure so that we can always stay within that with the Seacoast Echo publishing requirements and things like that. But I just want to, advise you that 45 days from the date of receipt of application is when you guys have to either approve or disapprove. The information that's required of the applicant has been submitted. And if you don't feel like you have enough to approve, then you're certainly within your right to disapprove. But my recommendation would be today to make a decision.
And so you're saying we don't, per our earlier discussion, you said we have the right to table, and you're saying we don't.
You can table anything you want, but the ordinance says within 45 days of the date of application, you either approve or disapprove.
But as a commission,
What's the date of application, Joe?
The date of the application is, when did we receive it?
the 9th of September?
November 1st.
November 1st.
So we're right at 45 days. And again, as we, one of the things we're going to take up is this notice requirement that we have. And so one of the things that the staff is recommending that we adjust is that notice requirement and only having to advertise once in the Seacoast Echo rather than twice because they don't publish as often as most papers do anymore. But that's where we're at. They've provided the information. They've got a right to at least a yes or no. And you can do it with conditions. I mean, you do have all the powers to make conditions. If you want to make sure that they've got, one of the big concerns that I keep hearing is about the trailers coming in and out. If you want to make whatever condition you can put on them at this time, you can put on.
Well, it's already 8 o'clock, and we haven't, that would take us, I'm not saying we can't do that tonight, we could. It's up to the commissioners, because there's, I don't want to dominate the conversation here, okay? That's not my purpose. It's just that I've looked at these plans, I've walked these plans, and what Taco Bell is saying and what I know is reality are two different things. I'm not saying they're stirring the pot or you're not telling the truth. But from the perspective, I've walked through this property, I've been there day after day, seeing what happens, and I think it can be solved, but we have to work towards a resolution. Now, we can put that in an emotion, but who's gonna work that solution, and who's gonna approve that solution?
That's your building official, that would,
But then
just-
our say is taken away from us, because the building commission is going to make the decision whether it meets what they feel is the criteria, and they've already told us that, where their position is on this, so.
Well, you remember too, the purview of the reason why this application is even before you, it only has to do with the fact that there's a drive-through here. If there were not a drive-through here, parking in and of itself would not be an issue.
I get that, Derek, but the driving through is the problem.
The drive-through is taking up a lot of space. The drive-through is closing the center access to that parking lot. It is the drive-through in itself that is causing the issues that we're trying to mitigate and discuss.
Well, and
That's why we are discussing it.
Well,
We keep saying that if it wasn't for the drive-through, we wouldn't be discussing it, is a moot point, because it is the drive-through that we're discussing. It is the drive-through that's causing the issue, that's causing the traffic.
All right.
It's not just a regular pull-up restaurant.
And we don't want,
It's
go ahead,
a
Bill.
restaurant that is going to be pulling in a lot of people from outside of the Diamondhead area, and it's going to be causing a great deal of traffic in that area. That's why we're discussing it.
Well, my recommendation to you all then is to mitigate to the extent that you can here, and make a recommendation to the, or make your decision. If you want to table it, it's up to you, but the ordinance says they need a decision within 45 days.
we
And the
don't wanna-
applicant can do whatever they want to do after that. They do have 10 days to appeal whatever decision you guys make, and no decision is a decision.
But we don't want to,
We-
go ahead, Bill.
John, then we can put conditions on them, and the conditions be that they cannot in any way interfere with another business that is existing in their area. They cannot cause any traffic, additional, problems on East Aloha until they've done a study that shows they won't. I mean, we can approve with conditions that are gonna make them, that we can put a condition that the 18-wheeler access behind existing buildings have an ingress and egress through Rouse's parking lot. There's a lot of conditions we can put on a yes, because they backed us up to no time to say, we want more studies. And if we give a no, then it goes to the city council and we lose all control. So there's a lot of conditions we can put on them right now. And those conditions are that the existing businesses are not harmed, that the proposed,
Bill, can you wait a second? Are you making a motion?
no, I'm not, I'm just talking to you.
Okay, well, why don't you put this in a form of a motion so we can get started down this path,
All right, well, I'll put it in the form of a motion.
okay? And just go through your points so that Tammy can write them down.
All right, that the, access behind, between the building and I-10 has an ingress and egress without the trucks having to back up, so they're gonna have to exit through Rouse's parking lot.
And I don't know that you can make a condition that another business allow trucks to go through their property.
Wait a second.
Sorry.
We can only have one person talking at a time.
Understand, I'm just.
But no, wait, Bill, we have a legal, but does not the city have eminent domain? Legal counsel?
Yes.
And it can, through eminent domain, require access through the Rouse rear parking lot. Their trucks or trailers go through there every day, and don't tell me they don't, because I know. I mean, I'm not saying it to you, I'm saying that generally. That's how they exit. And they're supposed to go to the rear of Rouse. My understanding, Chuck, is that's supposed to go to the rear of Rouse's and make their deliveries, but that's not what happens. They can drive around the parking lot and make the deliveries. But anyway.
You make the motion.
So you're saying we can't have eminent domain to have that occur?
This commission could not require that the city council take an eminent domain proceeding against another
But we can make a
business.
recommendation that they entertain that.
Okay.
Correct.
Make your motion.
Is that not correct within our we can request the city council to inquire to get an eminent domain or to get access to the Rouse's parking lot. That's all we can do. It's up to the city council to go from there. Okay, next bill.
That it, require that there is, no additional traffic load, sort of like we can require that the watershed off of the property, that there's no additional watershed, so that the road and the, exit through that area have to be modified to handle the traffic. And, basically that covers the front and the back. And that, if those are not done, then Taco Bell has to allow the 18-wheelers access to the existing businesses no matter what time.
Okay. I may or may not be able to add something to what you, before we make the motions. While the motion is still in the floor, I would like to have the city manager come to the front, if you would. So I just need you, and Pat, and Ronald. No, just come to look at this map, okay, because we need your expertise. You guys can come around and look. Okay. Here's our here's the Taco Bell, here's our understanding, and my understanding, because you guys can orient this map for us if we're wrong, okay? Because we all want to be on the same page here. So here's the Taco Bell, here's Aloha, correct? Okay. The Aloha's over here? Oh, yeah, because these are 2 lanes going through, yes, okay. All right. And here's the 2 drive-throughs, okay? And here is where Ace Hardware is, correct? Or not Ace Hardware, True Value, yeah. All right, well, here's your 2 drive-throughs, and you can see where the cars are going through here. Well, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, okay? And you see where this traffic is going to go, okay? They don't have any choice. They're gonna go right through these parking spots. Now, not 24/7, but here's their traffic flow. Where else are they gonna go? This is parking lots for Taco. This is parking lots for True Value. This is kind of the neutral area, where parking lots can be used for anybody. And so what's gonna happen here? This is my concern, is that they're gonna take those parking spots, because people are gonna wanna get their food. So this is gonna interfere with the traffic area.
Is it a double lane
This is a double lane here, Mike.
That lane's going out, that lane's going in.
No.
2 lanes start here. That has the architect.
Well, no, your 2 lanes are here, and you've got, this is the lane, arrow's going this way and this way. That's the front of the car,
But that lane's going that way, and that lane's going that way.
but you have,
Out of the parking lot and exiting here, okay?
but,
You come in here, your queue starts right here.
well, I got this, guys, but here's the arrow, and here's the cars, because this is your app window, and this is your pickup window, or your order window here. So you're gonna have 2 lanes of traffic. Carl?
You don't get 2 lanes until you get right here.
Well, that's what you think, but that's not gonna be the reality.
Right. This is gonna be McDonald's in Bay St. Louis.
Just
And they're gonna
try
double
to-
up.
Try to, there is no one so blind as will not see, so just listen to us and see what we're seeing, not what you think that we see, and tell us if we're right or wrong. This is going to be your, for lack of argument's sake, this is going to be your order line, or your app line, okay? This is gonna be your order line, okay? Okay. That's fine. No, it's fine, no. Okay, so, but you're gonna have a line of cars coming into this one and a line of cars coming this way. Now, we don't know when they're gonna be told which lane to get in, okay? Because I'm sure you're gonna have signage telling them, okay? Here, here, wherever. Someplace you're gonna have probably overhead, which will probably make a lot of sense. Yeah, you're gonna have overhead over here. But they're gonna be juxtaposition, and they're gonna be having two lines getting into this. Eventually, people are gonna know which line to get in, okay? And they're not gonna be dumb. So, when you've got, just say, let's take a small number of cars, 8 cars. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, okay? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there, okay? You're occupying this area, which is fine on this lane, but here you're taking parking spaces away from existing businesses, okay? During those busy times.
Existing business.
Right here is where Ace is.
And the pharmacy.
And the pharmacy.
Right back here.
No, they're right here.
All these parking lots are for Taco Bell. They're having
I
to
get
be
that.
shared.
Okay, all right, so those are Taco Bells. But then isn't the hardware store right here?
No, down further,
Parking.
yeah. There's more room in there.
Okay. Here's Ace, okay? Here's a drive-through here, and here's the other drive-through, okay? Here's Ace.
You just drove all the parking places.
That's right.
the island right here, though.
That's what they're gonna do. I'm telling you guys, that's what's gonna happen. That's our concern.
But I think we're saying that there's a sidewalk.
You can see the island right here.
Right
Yeah,
there.
there's an
Two
island
lanes
of
are gonna be in this
concrete.
space right here, then an island, and then this would be the parking.
Right,
If that's what's gonna happen,
yeah.
What's gonna happen is, we probably won't have more than 3 cars queued at a time, because we're gonna have 2 lanes moving through. And we have another 6 cars stacked right against.
I don't care what it is.
We're not talking about 2 lanes of traffic coming out.
This is,
Bypass lane is to let someone who wants to leave to get out of the queue.
So they're gonna have to merge,
Just like
Okay.
at McDonald's.
Yeah.
okay? That I
So
sit
they're
at
gonna
for
merge
20
when they
minutes at a
order.
time.
where's the order gonna take place?
On the other side, up there.
Well, that's. But
And
so
then
they're
they
gonna,
merge
they're gonna
together.
merge here, but they're not gonna merge, but there's gonna be, you're gonna have 2 lines of people coming in.
So,
We'll have one line, this is a 2-way traffic area, so they'll be coming in right here.
One's in and one's out.
but I think,
That's not what's gonna happen in reality,
no,
Carl. This is
Carl,
gonna
that's
be,
not what's
this
gonna
is,
happen in reality.
reality is gonna be 2 lanes.
We're out to 20 cars, if you don't get 20 cars.
Well, we're not saying you did get 20 cars. I'm just saying, I said 10, 5 and 5, okay? But even at 5 and 5, you're over here.
Right here is 14 cars.
What, that's not 13 cars.
2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
But these are our guys already done going out.
That's the idea, is to get them in, get them out.
I get that, but here's what our concern is in the back up here, okay?
I understand what you're saying, but
No,
14 cars is twice what we normally do. Very seldom do we
queue.
ever have 14
Okay.
cars in the parking.
I'm not
So-
talking about 14 cars, I'm calling 10 cars, okay?
10 car stops.
right there is what he's saying. Okay. But Carl, let me ask you something. Are you familiar with the Taco Bell in Waveland? In Waveland? What is the load capacity from the order window to the order?
We just renovated it, but that's it. I've also renovated.
Well, because here's what I'm getting at. Normally on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights, I'm in Waveland, and the line is all the way around.
I know. You guys put us in this situation, okay? Just, I know you do, Pat.
Okay.
Pat, I don't really want to hear it, okay?
very good. Then let's put the motion on the floor and vote.
That's maybe 9, 10 stacked up.
Are you on this commission now? You can go sit down.
Okay. I think our only concern is that, especially when it's new and everyone's excited, that you're gonna end up with double stacking in here all the way out
Okay.
and into the road.
All right, let's come to order. The chair would like to thank the city building and the city manager for coming up and working with us on this. I think we have a better understanding what we're looking at. We still have some concerns. Here's our situation. We don't want to say no, okay? We don't want to go start the whole clock all over again and start the whole process. Well, and we understand, you know, where city council feels, how they want to get this done, and so do we, okay? We have a motion on the floor, we need a second, and that's where we're at right now. Do we have a second? Yes, second. With those provisions that Bill has put. Okay. Now, I don't have anything to add to those. I think that I'm going to trust the city building and planning group to provide us with the information, so that we know what's going on as going on to the best of their ability, okay? They can't keep us involved in everything that they're deciding, but, I think our.
Could you restate the proposals?
It will be a roll call vote. Yeah, we haven't got that far, okay?
Restate the proposal.
I'm sorry. I'd like to call to question. Are there any questions on the motion?
I think people are asking you to restate the motion.
Okay. Can we have Tammy, can you read back the motion?
All right, here's the conditions. That's loud. Access behind the shopping center for 18-wheelers, both in and out, with a request from the council for eminent domain through Rouse's. Traffic study showing no additional traffic load. And if these aren't met, then Taco Bell allow 18-wheeler access for the shopping center through the Taco Bell entrance. That's the three that Mr. Horn called out.
But don't you think that's a little bit unreasonable to ask, put those conditions on it? I mean,
Well,
if
that-
we had, if
that's
the other
the ones that
businesses
were
have adequate delivery locations and they have, and they're,
I would like to, Bill, I'd like to amend the one concerning the access to the rear of the building, and we're discussing eminent domain, and that is that a reasonable access plan be developed for deliveries utilizing 18-wheelers to the rear of the store, okay?
yeah, because I don't think we can
The city council.
assume Rouse's is gonna,
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna put Rouse's.
we can't put Rouse's on
okay?
this map.
And, or the city council in the middle of this. We just have to get a plan back, and see what the building group can come up with. They're innovative and creative, let them do their work.
So that's no access behind, or is that access behind, just no eminent domain and in and out? That's what
Take
you
the
want?
limited domain out, yeah.
Okay.
We wanna see the
Access
plan.
behind,
Yep,
okay.
That you seconded, do you accept the amendment to the motion?
Yeah.
Okay. Bill, do you accept it?
I did.
Okay. All right, call to question's been made. Roll call vote. Tammy?
Commissioner DeBroe,
Aye.
Commissioner Flowers,
Aye.
Commissioner Hector,
Aye.
Commissioner Horn,
Aye.
Commissioner Lael, Commissioner Torgerson,
Aye.
Chairman Rubar.
Aye.
All right, and now just for the little housekeeping, just for the applicant's sake, this is a little different than the variance that we went through that automatically goes to the city council. This will not automatically go to the city council, and this will remain the decision of the Planning and Zoning Commission unless it is appealed. You have 10 days to appeal. That appeal goes to the city council. Okay? So, and that's for all interested parties, not just the applicant. So and that's how the ordinance reads with respect to the Planning Commission review procedure. And those would get sent to the building official, Ronald Jones, by letter.
Okay, item number 6 on the agenda, the City Council, City of Diamond, represented by Ronald Jones, building official, has filed an application requesting a text amendment to reduce the number of publication days, increase the number of mail notices for the zoning ordinance 2012-006, the subdivision regulations ordinance 2020-001, case file number 202-100-493. Proposed text amendments would make the following changes to Appendix A. Zoning Article 2.9, Public Procedure Notice, Section 2.9.1.A, change 300 feet to 400 feet. Section 2.91.B, change from 300 feet to 400 feet. And Section 2.9.6B, change from 300 feet to 400 feet. Section 2.97A, II, change to parentheses, publication days to one publication day of the subdivision regulations, Article 3. Procedures, Article 301.6, change from 300 feet to 400 feet. Article 3.303.2.3, change to 300 feet and to 400 feet. And Article 320.4E, Article 3205B, change from 300 to 400 feet. Mr. Jones. Okay, you're up.
For the sake of brevity, I'm gonna set it up and knock it down.
Well, that's good. No.
Okay. As an example, tonight, the problem is, Mrs. Carlson, is this we went to a, Seacoast Echo went from a twice weekly publication to a weekly publication, okay? So that extended our notice time out. And that kind of crunched the numbers as far as getting it together, providing the notice, providing information, y'all, blah, blah, blah. So we seek to condense the program, give the applicants, make sure that they're within the 45 days that are required. And also, we have decided to expand the notification by letter to those effective to within 400 feet, I'm sorry, from 3 to 400 feet.
You
That's
said 45 days. 45 days for what?
45 days in order to render a decision.
For us to render a decision?
Yes, yes.
From the date of application?
From the date of application.
Hoping to avoid some
I get
issues
it,
like
yeah.
we saw.
Will that be enough time? Do you think, you deal with this every day, do you think that'll be enough time? Is 45 days enough time, or should it be 60 days?
No, 45 days in the normal course of events, 45 days is
Well-
good, okay?
We'll trust in your judgment. Go
Thank
ahead.
you.
All right.
Thank you. So I'll move on to the, we recommend approval.
Yeah, kinda got that, yeah. We kinda got that in the message. Yeah, we need a motion to, approve this or reject it, whichever you want.
I motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Called a question. Any questions on the motion for Mr. Rich? Okay. Roll call vote, Miss Tammy.
Commissioner DeVoe,
Aye.
Commissioner Flowers,
Aye.
Commissioner Hector,
Aye.
Commissioner Horn,
Aye.
Commissioner Leal,
Aye.
Commissioner Torgerson,
Aye.
Chairman Rubar.
Aye. It took me longer to read that than the whole procedure went
I
through.
know.
All right, number 7. City of Diamond, represented by Ronald Jones, AKA Pat Rich. Building official has filed an application requesting a text amendment to require a 100-year storm events in the zoning ordinance. Ordinance number 2012-019, 21-00494. The proposed text amendments would make the following changes to the zoning amendment ordinance, Article 14. Land alterations and disturbances, Article 14.1.3.d. Land and clearing and drainage, change a 5-year storm to 100-year storm, insert a period after urbanized areas, remove there within, the rainfall is 1 hour at a rainfall of 3 inches per hour. At approximate value for I, precipitation intensity in inches per hour shall be obtained from NOAA website at https:///HDCS nws.noaa.gov/HDSSC/PFDS/period. This website provides precipitation intensity information before runoff shall be drained. In-storm runoff, illicit discharges, and illegal connections and ordinance in Chapter 7 Stormwater Management section, the storm detention standards and requirements, and 100-year, 50-year, and a 2-year to 5-year, 10 years to 25 years, and 50 to 24-hour storm events. Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot. Okay, again, this was due to the increasing and frequency of the rainfall events that we're having here. The council requested that we change this to a 100-year storm event in doing the calculations. So, and some of this other was administrative work to clarify something. This was, has been approved by our city engineer, our contracted city engineer, so all the relevant people. So therefore, we highly recommend doing this.
Yeah, Mike spoke to some of us about that already, about this.
Okay.
I have one quick question on that.
Yes.
Is there a certain size, parcel or property size that this is gonna pertain to, like the single lot owner, is it, or?
3 acres or more.
Oh, does it say that on here
Yes.
somewhere?
It says on the, where I've got it on the back page, land clearing and alterations, parcels of land greater than 3 acres.
Oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not a very good reader, so, okay, I
Well,
believe
that's
you.
okay.
We'll go with it.
I read it this evening before we got here, yeah. I mean, it makes good sense. We need a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
I second it.
Call to question. Any questions on the motion? Okay, seeing no questions on the motion. Roll call vote. Ms. Tanner.
Commissioner DeBroke? Aye. Commissioner Flowers? Aye. Commissioner Hector? Aye. Commissioner Horn? Aye. Commissioner Lael?
Aye.
Commissioner Torgerson?
Aye.
Chairman Rugar?
Aye. Okay, any unfinished business?
No.
Okay. Open public comments to non-agenda items. Anyone?
There were none.
Okay. Commissioners' comments. You all had a lot to say tonight, so now you're not gonna say anything.
Where's happy hour? This has been a long meeting.
Yeah, it's been a long meeting, say that again. You know, I think as a commission, we take our responsibility very seriously. And we try to come out with the very best result we can, okay? It is, we get often caught in the middle between the citizens, the city, and, you know, the building department. And everybody has opinions, as you know. And we try to do our best to work with it. I think that we have to work closer with the building department to make sure we understand the items long before the meeting, okay? And that's on us, okay? We did not want to, you know, have a no vote on this tonight, but we wanted to get certain things and criteria in place. I'm personally not totally comfortable with some of the driving plans and traffic plans and how we're gonna do that, but I have a lot of trust in some of the city officials of this, to run this city. So I'm letting that trust ride with Mike, because I have a lot of trust in him. And he's not let me down in the past, and I've known him for decades. I feel like that. That's pretty scary, isn't it, Mike? Did you say I'm getting old? You're getting old. You just went off my prayer list, okay? And I think the city is trying to move in the right direction, and I think we've made great strides in that direction. And we want to be part of that. And sometimes a little more, better communication to all of us would help. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Okay?
Agreed.
John, something to add to that. I think that 45 days needs to be from our hearing on it, not from their application. Because they basically brought it to day 44, which crippled us from doing several items that we may have wanted to do to mitigate this and forced our hands, which I think is not proper thing to our commission.
I mean, one of the things that we did tonight is to address that. And, you know, as we know, we've come up against it with some of the notice requirements that were in the ordinance and how the Seacoast Echo changed. And so it was creating a real time crunch. And applicants have to, you know, one of the things as well is applicants have to get their applications in well in advance of us hearing them. And so we're trying to fix that so that we don't have that crunch. This may fix it. If it doesn't, we may want to extend that period of time. It's something else that we can look at. But applicants, as we try to develop and we meet the needs of the applicants and then the needs of the ordinance and what's required there, you know, there's built-in delays because we've got to look at these things. We've got to get notices out and we've got to do that. But we also want to move quickly to get an answer to these applicants because they've got money on the line.
Well,
And the residents need, you know, to know that we're taking the time and looking at it. Nobody can question that this commission, you know, takes their role very seriously. You guys ask a lot of great questions. And so that's what we want. And your job is a difficult job because you really are. The public hearings, the city council loves you guys because you have the public hearings. You guys get the folks yelling at you and saying, we don't like that, we don't like that. And your job is to say, we follow the ordinance. If you don't like it, talk to them. They make the ordinance. They make the rules. Your job is to follow the rules and stay in those parameters. And you guys do that. So,
yeah, we do get some heat. Yeah. Let's try this and see if that doesn't improve the situation, because we get backed into a corner and we're making decisions when we're really not comfortable with it. And that's all we're asking is for a consideration of that. And we appreciate that. Okay. I'd like to thank the commissioners personally for being very patient and going through all this tonight. And Bill, thank you for calling in. I know you've got a really hectic schedule. All right, we need a motion to adjourn. What? Yes, Pat?
I'm sorry.
What's already needed?
Just the announcements, okay?
Oh, the announcement?
Yes, the announcements. The next city council meeting, which the Curvies will be heard at the next city council meeting, December 21st, and also the two text amendments. So that'll be next Tuesday, right here, 6 p.m. And hopefully it won't run as long as this one. And the next planning commission date is January 25th, 2022 at 6 p.m.
do we have anything?
We approved the calendar, so we're good to go.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, the calendar's been approved. Okay, do I have entertain a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.